Since the uprising began, Libya has cut delivery of by as many as 2 million barrels of oil a day. That is one of the reasons that the White House gave for its plans to release 30 million barrels from our strategic petroleum reserves. And joining us with more on that is Michael Santoli. He is associate editor at Barrons. Great to have you with us, Michael. So we have 727 million barrels of oil in these reserves. We're releasing 30 million of them. And here in this country, we use about 18 million barrels of oil a day. Right. So basically, if you actually look at our use, this is really just a drop in the bucket.
It is. It's not necessarily going to overwhelm the oil market. It's not really going to be the major swing factor in terms of what energy prices do. But at the margin, it definitely puts a little bit of downward pressure on oil and gasoline prices. And as you mentioned, it's kind of a global story here. The European governments are also releasing some reserves. We basically had a little bit of a bottleneck in supplies, especially for European refineries who need a specific kind of oil that Libya used to provide that they can refine.
It's not unprecedented to release some oil from our reserves in times of economic strain. In particular, we saw it out of Katrina in 2005. Right. We saw it in Gulf Storm in 1991. But there is an issue here because it's different now because prices have been actually coming down, and now we're releasing it versus those previous times where prices were going up and the oil was released.
They have been coming down. I mean, they're down about 10% from their recent highs, although on a year-over-year basis, based on what the prices were last year, they are up.
Yes.
And I do think there's a sense of being defensive or proactive in trying to blunt the impact of year-over-year price increases as the summer driving season gets going. I mean, at least that's an ancillary reason why I think the government's made this decision.
Why not release it earlier then? I mean, we got to $4 a gallon back in April.
Yeah.
Why wait until we're down now? I mean, we're still $1 higher than we were last year, but why wait?
I have a feeling it's a relatively controversial thing. A lot of people think the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is really supposed to be a true emergency fund, if you will, of oil. And so maybe there wasn't really the motivation to do it at the time. It has been stubborn. I mean, we've seen this economic slowdown. You would expect perhaps gasoline prices to have come down a little more rapidly. They haven't. And so maybe it was just a matter of internal debate in terms of waiting this long.
It has been stubborn, and it's been one of the main reasons, and we've heard it from the Fed chair, we've heard it from politicians. It's one of the main reasons people are saying our economic recovery is stalling right here. I mean, the jobs picture actually got worse last month as opposed to getting better, and a lot of that people say is because of this headwind of paying more at the pump.
It's certainly a factor. That, along with the impact, the really kind of the chain effect of the Japan tsunami and supply chain issues definitely were a factor in terms of why the first quarter and now the second quarter have been somewhat disappointing in terms of economic growth. I also think there's a real impact in terms of gasoline prices on consumer psychology. Think about how you pay for gas. You stand next to a car and you watch the dollars add up. It's something that really does impact consumer psychology. Every 10-cent increase in gasoline prices supposedly takes $40 million a day out of the consumer economy. So obviously, there's a lot of motivation on all fronts to try and mute the impact. I don't think, though, it's going to be the thing that derails an economic recovery. On a per mile basis, we pay as much for gasoline today as we did in 1960 because cars are more efficient and obviously general inflation. So it's not as if this is going to be the thing at this point, at these price levels, that really derails things.
That derails things. One last question. Where are prices going to be at the end of the summer?
I think within a few weeks, we should have a 15 or 20 cent decline in national prices per gallon of gasoline. End of the summer is a little bit tougher to call, but it does seem as if we've kind of capped ourselves at somewhere around $4 a gallon for the moment.
We'll end it there on some good news. Michael Santoli, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you.